There's three after that.
Good afternoon. The Board of License Commissioners is now in session. Before we start, we do have a full agenda. We do have a full board. Mr. Duca is expected from Inspection Services to be here any minute. Before we start, let me read the open meeting law. Pursuant to the open meeting law, any person may make an audio or video recording of this public meeting or may transmit the meeting through any medium. Attendees are therefore advised that such recordings or transmissions are being made, whether perceived or unperceived, by those present and are deemed acknowledged and permissible. Put that aside. And again, we do have a full agenda. We have 15 items on it. We will go right in order, starting at the top. Agenda item number 1, hearing regarding the request of House Net Congregational Church, 310 Manette Ave, for a special use permit for the holiday fair on Friday, November 3rd, 2017, from 6 to 9. Is anyone here? Yes, she is. Come on down. It's your turn to play. And you are Kara.
I am not.
You are
I'm
not.
Jill Hockney. In
You are
place
who?
of Cara. Jill
Jill.
Hockney, Hockney.
And you're here in place of Kara.
Yes.
So why don't you tell us about the holiday fair, okay?
Okay. It's going to be Friday, the 3rd, from 6 to 9. We are selling craft goods and food that evening. Saturday, from 9 to 3, we are selling the same craft goods and breakfast, lunch, and snacks that day.
And it's, okay. And this is at 310 Manette Ave.
Correct.
And there's no alcohol at all.
Correct.
Okay, and is this the first time we've ever done it?
No,
No, okay. How's it been in the past?
it's been great. Really good.
Sounds like the Mary Ann's when they used to do it down at St. Anne's School, the Christmas Bazaar. Remember that?
I remember.
You go down with a quarter and get Christmas presents for your whole family.
That's right. Back with 10 cents change.
A little bit more than a quarter now.
Well, I didn't get great presents. So with that, does anybody in the audience have any comments, questions, concerns about the holiday fair down at the Congregational Church in House Neck? Seeing none, we'll close. Board members, any comments, questions, concerns? On the food, is it going to be prepared on-site or is it going to be like baked goods?
Both. There's going to be baked goods, bake sale, and there's also going to be food prepared in the kitchen.
Okay, we'll probably have one of my inspectors come down the day of the
Great.
event and you'll have no problems at all, okay?
Okay.
Any other comments, questions, looking for a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to grant the request of the House Net Congregational Church, 310 Manette Ave, for a special use permit for a holiday fair on Friday, November 3rd, from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m., and Saturday, November 4th, from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m., represented by Jill Hockney. Second.
Motion made and seconded to grant the request of House Neck Congregational Church, 310 Manette Ave, for a special use permit for the holiday fair on Friday, November 3rd, from 6 to 9 p.m. and Saturday, November 4th, from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. And it is represented by Jill Hockney. All in favor?
Aye.
Jill, you're all set, okay?
Okay, great.
Good luck.
Can I go now?
You may leave tonight.
Thank
The
you.
great and powerful laws has said.
Thank you.
Agenda item number 2, hearing regarding the request of Haiti Health Alliance for a special use permit, one-day wine and malt for a fundraising gala to be held Saturday, November 4th, 2017 at the SEIU Hall at 108 Myrtle Street. The event is from 7 to 11 p.m. and it's Miss Mara Callahan.
Yes.
Hi Mara, how are you? Why don't you
Fine,
tell
how
us
are you?
about the event at the Haiti Health Alliance?
So this is our second annual gala. Last year we had our first annual gala. Haiti Health Alliance does medical mission trips to Haiti, and the president is back in Chi back there, Kathleen Edward. I am on the board with her.
And it is invitation only, is it? Or is it open to
We
the
sell
public?
tickets. It is
So,
open to the
okay.
public. Yep.
And so it's a fundraising gala,
Yep.
and who is it geared towards?
So it's mostly family and friends of people who are familiar with the charity, which is a lot of family, but if someone else wanted to attend, we're happy to have them attend as well.
Okay, and the charity is
Haiti Health Alliance.
Haiti Health Alliance, that's where it's going to, okay. Anybody in the audience have any comments, questions, concerns? Seeing none, we'll close. Board members, comments, questions? Food being served
Yes,
on site? Is it being catered or
it's catered.
catered? Okay.
Yes.
You have a DJ? or-
Yep, we have a DJ, and then last year we had some Haitian dancers.
Do you do a raffle at all?
Last year we did a silent auction for some artwork, and so this year we did I sent the paperwork in for a raffle permit.
Okay,
That's
all, that's good. Okay.
How many folks do you expect?
Hopefully 200. Last year we had about 200.
Anything else?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to grant the request of Haiti Health Alliance for a special use permit, one-day wine and malt license for a second annual fundraising gala to be held Saturday, November 4th, 2017 at the SEIU Hall at 108 Myrtle Street. The event will run from 7 p.m. to 11 p.m., represented by Ms. Laura Callahan.
Second?
Thank you, all three. Motion made and seconded 3 times to grant the request of the Haiti Health Alliance for a special use permit, one-day wine and malt for a fundraising gala to be held Saturday, November 14th at the SEIU Hall at 108 Myrtle Street from 7 p.m. until 11 p.m., represented by Ms. Maura Callahan. All in favor?
Aye.
You're all set.
Thank you very
Good
much.
luck, okay?
Thank you.
Yes. These next 2 items are going to be together. It's 3 and 4. It's the exact same applicant. They're just consolidating a little bit. So, agenda item number 3, hearing regarding the request of School Street Automotive Inc., 65 School Street, for a Motor 2 license due to change in ownership from Salim Yosef to Edgar Fayyad, and the manager's going to be Mr. Jamal Denny. This is Edgar Fayyad. I met with his manager earlier today up at 68 School Street, which is across the street. 65 School Street is right across from Anthony's Hairdressing. It's a used car lot. It's been there for maybe 10 years now, I believe. And I know that there is a number of cars that we have on the site so far. But I'm going to let Edward tell us what his plans are, and then we'll ask him some questions if we have any, and we'll go from there.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for this opportunity. So basically, we're going to be giving quality used cars, going through them at the gas station across the street, going through them, making sure they're in good shape, backing them with a warranty, and selling them between the gas station, which is 68 School Street, and 65 School Street.
So all the repair work will be done
At the gas station.
at the gas station, then you
Correct.
move the car over to...
That is correct.
And the gas station also has a Motor 2 license. Both gas stations. So you'll have the lot with no gas repair or anything, and then you'll have a gas station that has a Motor 2 also.
That is affirmative. That is affirmative.
And the amount of cars that we have on record for 65 School Street is a total of 15 cars on the lot.
Okay.
Okay, you can have 11 outside and 4 inside at any given time, or as long as we have the space. And I know that we've been down there in the past, and I think 15 is the number that we decided on, Mr. Duca.
Is that the one, the gas station one?
That's not the gas station one. This is the one by the Magnet place.
So the end,
Johnson
gas
Motor
goes.
I
Parts.
thought we reduced that to 11 at one.
We have 11 on the outside, 4 on the inside.
Oh, okay.
So it's a total of 15. You have spots on the inside because you have a 2-bay garage there.
Yeah.
You can
Correct.
fit 4 cars on the inside. They were doing some other things there, I believe, in the past. But it's 11 cars on the outside, 4 on the inside. You can use the inside as a showroom, so you shouldn't have any issues.
Very good.
Hours of operation are 7 days a week, 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. Okay. Before I open up to any other board members, anybody in the audience have any comments, questions, concerns?
Do Can we just vote together? Oh, I'm
No,
sorry.
two separate ones. Two separate agenda items.
Are we talking about both of them now, or? I
Well,
just
we're
had
just-
questions on the 68 School Street.
We're just
Gas
talking,
station.
yeah, we're just talking about 65 right
Okay,
now.
good.
Everything else, yep, is in order. The bond is here, everything else, Yep. and everything is here.
Can we talk about signage a little bit? Do you have any plans on putting up any signs?
No, we would like to keep the place neat and clean, abide with the rules and regulations of the city. And if you have any concerns, and if we're gonna do and make any changes, we'll go through you, we show you pictures, you approve it, we'll go with it. Any concerns, any problems, we'll address it, so.
The reason I was asking is, in the past, that owner had on the vehicles, it looked like a circus, the whole place. It's kind of in a high-profile corner, and we were always going back and forth with the amount of signs that it had on the vehicles, on the windows and the windshield, so I would hope that that's not part of the marketing.
Well,
This-
the one is on the cars, we're only going to put the sticker of the year on the car. We're physically going right with the marker, you know, how people
Yeah,
are right on
that's
the
what they had
marker.
marketed.
No, I
It
wouldn't,
was-
no, only going to be a year on the car,
Okay.
and a couple of flags on the side just to say open, and we finance. We're going to make it look neat.
Okay, thank you.
And if this is not the end, if you approve us, if you have any concerns later on down the road, please feel free anytime. We wanna be, you know, on the good side of the
Thank you.
city, so.
Appreciate it.
Anybody in the audience, comments, questions? Seeing none, board members?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to grant the request of School Street Automotive Inc., 65 School Street, for a Motor 2 license due to change in ownership from Salim Youssef to Edgar Fayed.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to grant the request of School Street Automotive Inc., 65 School Street, for a Motor 2 license. 15 cars, 11 outside, 4 inside. And it's going to be a license to Edgar Fayad. All in favor?
Aye.
You're all set on that one right there, so let us go to agenda item number 4. This is hearing regarding the request of School Street Automotive Inc., 68 School Street, for a garage repair license, a gasoline repair license, manager's license, and a Motor 2 license due to a change in ownership from Salim Yousaf to Edgar Fayed. So, again, we have Edward right here. We kind of know what he's doing. I know that Mr. Duca, before I bring it up to Mr. Duca, are there any changes going to be made to the operation at all?
No, actually, we're pretty much gonna keep the same operation, doing repair, state inspection, car sale license. We're gonna keep junk cars away, not fill the place with, you know, bad vehicles or whatever. Keep it as neat as possible and keep the same hour of operations, and basically that's it.
So you have a Motor 2 for that location at 68 School Street. We have 5 cars for Motor 2 there. I know we have a repair total of 7 on the license, which would give you a total of 12 spots on the property. The repair number 7 is, I don't think it's something that's etched in stone, because how can we ever say, if you have 7 cars there for repair and someone comes in for a repair job, you're not gonna say, oh, sorry, I can't take it. Obviously, you're gonna have to take it. We just want you to be aware of the fact that we don't want 75 cars on the lot
Absolutely.
and 20 of them unregistered with no stickers and 3 flat tires, and you're using them for spare parts. Then you become a junkyard.
Absolutely, we
Okay,
agree.
as long as
We got rid of some of the cars, they were on the facility and.
When I was by there today, I counted 5 cars on the left-hand side. You still had plenty of space for plenty more cars. It absolutely looked fantastic. I was very happy the way the
Thank
auto
you.
it looked today
Thank
when I
you.
was by there. Before we go further, anybody in the audience have any comments, questions, concerns? Seeing none, we'll close. And board members, any comments, questions, concerns?
Yeah, I would caution you again on the signage. I know it's, everybody wants to advertise all the little things that they do. That corner's been a problem between the gas station across the street, your facility, and there's another one diagonally. So it's, it's been, we've been after everybody to just try to keep the signage down to the bare minimum. So be careful of streamers, flags, sandwich board signs, just try to keep that in check.
We might only add some American flags, that's it, so nothing else.
American flags, okay.
Yeah, I'm not gonna deny that. So going forward, I'm looking for 2 votes, a vote for the garage repair license, gasoline repair license, manager's license, and then a separate vote for the Motor 2 license, okay? And the hours of operation, again, 7 days a week, 5 AM until midnight,
Correct.
and that till midnight's mostly because of the gasoline bag.
Gasoline,
aspect of it,
correct.
okay. Board members?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to grant the request of School Street Automotive, Inc., 68 School Street for a garage repair license.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to grant the request of to grant the request of School Street Automotive, Inc., 68 School Street, for a garage repair license, gasoline repair license, and a manager's license. Edgar Fiat, and the proposed manager is going to be Jamal Denny. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And now we'll go to 2 license. Did you include Motor 2 in that? We need a
No,
second
I was
vote
gonna
for
do one
Motor
each,
2.
I was doing one, you wanted to do,
We can do the 3 together.
okay, so which one do you want to do?
Motor 2.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to grant the request of School Street Automotive, Inc., 68 School Street for a Motor 2 license due to a change in ownership from Salim Youssef to Edgar Fayed. Mr. Jamal Denny would be the manager.
Correct.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to grant the request of School Street Automotive, 68 School Street, for a Motor 2 license, 5 used cars for sale. And it's due to a change in ownership from Salim Yousaf to Edgar Fayad, and Jamal Denny is the proposed manager. All in favor?
Aye.
You're all set.
Thank you very
Good
much.
luck, gentlemen,
Thank you
okay?
very much. Before we leave, the registry of motor vehicle, in order to do the transfer on the inspection license, they require a business certificate from the city, so.
You should come up and,
Right upstairs.
All right, thank you very much, thank you for your
Good
time.
luck.
Good luck.
Yep, we'll see, we'll be there tomorrow. Or you
I'll
can
have
go
my
up
tomorrow.
there and do it, you can do it now if you
Now?
wanted to, yeah, they're
I'll go
there.
up now.
Yeah, tell them we said that you could get a business certificate.
All right,
Brenda's
thank you.
there, yep.
Thank you.
agenda item number 5, hearing regarding the request of Quincy Gate Auto, 165 Hancock Street, for a Motor 2 license and a garage repair license. Mr. Amir Rada and Mr. Samir Rada. Brothers,
Yes.
how are you today?
Okay.
And Samir is, you're the one who's gonna be in charge?
Yes, I'll be the
You're gonna be the proposed manager?
Mhm.
This is the Rada brothers. They are looking to open up at 165 Hancock Street. It's actually the intersection of Hancock, and it's right across from where,
The Ritz.
the Ritz, what's the street
Myrtle?
then? Not Myrtle,
No.
it's a different one.
Near
No, thank you.
Boston.
Yeah, it's right across from where Basta Pasta
Yeah.
is. It's been a Motor 2 in the past. So why don't you explain to us what you're going to do? It's closed right now, right?
Right.
I was up there earlier, and it is completely locked up. So why don't you tell us your proposal?
So we propose to do used car dealership and repair shop.
And hours of operation, 8 AM to 6 PM, Monday through Friday?
Yes.
Closed on Saturday and Sunday?
Sunday only.
Sunday open? Sunday hours are gonna be,
Oh, well, Saturday was open.
oh, Saturday.
Saturday open.
What are the Saturday hours the same?
9 to 3.
9 to 3? Okay.
You don't own the property, right?
No, we
You're
don't.
leasing it? Who owns the property?
That is
Hi,
Representative officer.
it's the Church family owns it. It's right now managed by the mother who lives in Natick right now, so.
We do have the emergency contact form, and you live in Quincy?
we do.
So they both live in Quincy, that's great, we'll be able to get in touch with them real easy if we have any issues. We have a number of cars on this site. Do you have a number that, it's been a while since that's been up and running effectively, do you have a number that you're looking for to put there? It's a pretty big site, how many cars are you looking for?
We're looking for 20 if possible.
It's like 11,000 square foot.
It's definitely a big enough lot to hold 20 cars. I just wonder if Mr. Duca has any insight on it?
Is that for sale or is that for sale and repair?
That's, we can talk about that. I know there's plenty of room on the location for 20 cars, easily 20.
I just wanted to say, I checked out the zoning portion of that. Have we heard from the councilor Harris on this at all? Have you talked to the ward council? And the reason I asked is the last time somebody was going for, to utilize this license, I think Councilor Harris had not met with them and had some concerns. So I wanted to hear, I was hoping to hear from Councilor Harris.
They wanted to do improvements. We were here during the last meeting. They wanted them to paint the lot, paint the building, make it look better on the outside.
I think that was a zoning board.
For the zoning, yes.
That was during a zoning board meeting.
The last person met with the licensing board as well.
Did they? I don't remember.
They never did.
No, they
I
never
think they
came
went
before.
straight to the zoning.
Yeah, you went
Yeah.
straight to zoning because there are some outstanding zoning issues
Okay.
because it's been closed for a while.
Okay,
I had suggested that they meet with the ward councilor to try to sort that out.
okay.
And then I know at one time you went to zoning board to sort that out, but I think you withdrew.
Due
at
to
some
the
point.
condition of the place,
Yeah.
yeah. So
Because of
since-
the, right.
Yeah, so
Um,
since then, they've asked them to paint the lot, which they did. They painted the building on the outside to make it look better because it was run down a little bit.
I was hoping to hear back from the ward councilor, because I'd be reluctant to vote on this tonight myself, to give a license for something that still has some zoning, outstanding zoning issues. And the ward councilor is going to play a big role in that.
So, I'm just, the gentleman here is frantically has something to say, so.
My name is Tim Fitzgerald. I help these gentlemen with their applications. And I've had several conversations with Mr. Harris, and he has absolutely no problems with this. And he said, if you had any, please get a hold of him. And he said, if there were problems, and I said, if there are problems, we'll sit down with you and whoever there's a problem with, and he was quite happy about that. I also
I
talked
would
to
like to get that either himself to show up or
He
something.
told me he was
in writing.
going to be here, so it's election time. He's busy,
Yeah.
I'm sure.
Yeah. Well, I have no problem continuing. I think it's great that something's going to be done with the site, but the councilor is playing a big role in the zoning part of this, and I would like to hear from him or something in writing.
I asked the councilor and I asked Representative Chan both if there were any plans that would involve this property, and they said, no. If you're going to make it a nice business, we'd be happy to have it as a business. So I did discuss that because I had heard that with both of them, so.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. So I'm sure they spoke with the, I just would have liked to have heard directly from the
The
council.
city clerk is texting as we speak, so
Okay.
maybe we'll get an instant response.
Okay. that's-
While we wait on Councilor Harris, is it okay if we put you into recess? And maybe we'll hear back from Councilor Harris before the end of the meeting, and then we'll be able to bring you back up that way. Otherwise, if we don't hear from Councilor Harris, if Mr. Duca makes a motion to continue it until the next hearing, I'm pretty sure he's gonna get a 5-0 vote to continue it. And if we don't have to continue it, I'd just as soon wait to hear from Mr. Harris. So if you don't mind having a seat, we'll continue this, we'll put this into recess for 10 or 15 minutes and we'll come back to it, okay? So, agenda item number 5 has been put into recess while we wait on Councilor Harris's response. And from there, we will move on to agenda item number 6. This is the hearing regarding the request of the Chen Zheng Family, Inc., DBA, J Garden, 59 Franklin Street, for common vicular license. And this is Yan Qing Zhen. And the hours of operation will remain unchanged, 11:30 a.m. to 1 a.m. How are you today?
Good, hi. My name is Mita Lin from Attorney General's office, and she's the owner, she's Yan Jin, okay? And she kind of take over the restaurant, J Garden, and we're here to petition for the license.
And do you have any experience in the food business?
Do you have any experience? She and her husband does.
Her husband- It's not a requirement. I'm just
I
asking
think
a
my husband also
question.
did,
Yeah.
but they both do.
Okay. This is actually right down on Franklin Street. It's right next to the old, oh, I thought you- it's right next to the it used to be Sub Corral when I first came on back in '97. It's right in the intersection, almost on the intersection of Franklin and Water. It's right across. There's the Sub Place, and then right next to that, it's a little Asian restaurant. No alcohol.
It's right on the corner?
It's kind of like right on the corner.
What was it before?
An Asian restaurant.
Oh,
It's, yeah, you doing any changes at all to the
No
inside?
change, and keep the same hours.
Yeah, everything is the same. Kathy Nugent was there on the 20th. Bill DeCarly was there on the 19th of September and signed off on it. No changes are made on anything. We have the emergency contact form. We have workman's comp. We need a workman's comp form still. Workman's compensation.
Pass it to you guys tomorrow. Okay.
All of the other paperwork is in.
How many seats is it?
There's about, I'm gonna say maybe 10 seats inside, maybe.
Is it something like, I go away. Yeah, I go away. About 10? Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, there's not a lot of seats. It's a small,
Take notes.
yeah. Everything else is in order. Purchase and sale is all here. Before I open it up to the board, does anybody in the audience have any comments, questions, concerns? Seeing none, we'll close that portion of the hearing. Board members, any comments, questions, concerns? Chief Barron.
Inspector Wong was by there. I see you did have the grill hood cleaned. He was looking for an inspection report for your fire alarm system.
Okay.
So I'd like to make sure that you get that to us.
Okay,
All right?
absolutely.
So it'll be approved, final pending inspection by the fire department, okay?
Absolutely.
Any other board members' comments, questions? Looking for a motion, gentlemen and ladies.
Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to grant the request of Chen Zeng Family, Inc., DBA J Garden, 59 Franklin Street, for a new common victular license due to a change in ownership from Chi Hua Ho to Yan Qing Zheng. Hours of operation will remain unchanged, 11:30 a.m. to 1 a.m. Approval based on final pending fire alarm report.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to grant the request of Chen Zeng Family, Inc., DBA J Garden, 59 Franklin Street, for common vicular license to Yang Qing Zhang. Hours of operation, 11:30 to 1 a.m. It has 10 seats and it's represented by Attorney Peter Lim's law office. All in favor?
Aye.
You're all set.
Thank
Good
you.
luck, okay?
Thank you.
Go ahead. Agenda item number 7, hearing regarding the request of Town River Yacht Club, 60 Mound Street, for a new manager, Mr. Michael Richards. No one from Mound Street. Okay, we will hold Mound Street. Okay. Agenda item 8, hearing regarding the request of Night Entertainment, Inc., DBA Revel, 79 Parking Way, for a transfer of the stock of new officers and directors. This item is a March 17th item that was continued, and it's Mr. Edward Matthews is purchasing the existing shareholders out, and he will be the sole officer, director, and shareholder, and the manager of Record Brandon Suite will remain unchanged. The proposed hours of operation are 11 a.m. to 1 a.m., and it's represented by Attorney John Ieta. John, why don't you explain to us what you plan on doing down at Revel?
So, just procedurally, as you stated before, Mr. Chairman, this was before the board back in March 2017, earlier this year. At that time, the board informed us that there was a pending ABCC issue. It wasn't until May that we actually got, the Revel got notice of that, and it wasn't until June that the hearing actually happened. So that's explaining the passage of time as to why it took so long. Since that time, the existing ownership served their suspension. So we're here tonight because we had to wait until that time, until that suspension was served. Mr. Matthew, as I stated before, he's a Quincy resident. He's been a Quincy resident for close to 10 years now. Okay.
My kids both went to North Quincy and Quincy High, right?
And
doing an MD PhD program, so they're doing Quincy pretty proud.
Mr. Matthew, the plan here is he's going to purchase all the outstanding shares of stock. So at the end of the day, following approval, he'll be the sole officer, director, and shareholder.
There's no other changes at all going on in the operation? All the other licenses are gonna stay the same? It's just-
Correct.
Okay.
Hours of operation remain the same. Mr. Matthew has over 30 years' experience in the hospitality industry, both restaurant, clubs, bars, promotions, marketing, things like that. So where this is predominantly, night entertainment, things like that, it fits the bill in terms of what his experience is and what he's comfortable handling. Again, the day-to-day operations remain the same, and the hours will remain the same as well.
The only thing that we may need is, because this check is dated the 14th, we may
Yeah,
need to
you
do
know what,
updated.
that was mentioned, I meant to bring a substitute check,
You can take care of that
and
tomorrow.
I'll drop that off.
Everything else is in order. Before we go any further to the board, does anybody in the audience have any comments, questions, concerns? Seeing none, we'll close that portion. Board members, any comments, questions, or concerns?
I've got a question. Brandon Sweat,
Sweet, yes.
he's gonna remain the manager?
He is.
Is he on premise every night?
Not every night. So what happened is, he's there now at, if we need to get him, we're here, but he's 5 minutes away. When the violation came down, at first the intention was to pay the fine. When the owners decided to allow the suspension to play out, in other words, they were going to be closed for 20 days. At that time, Mr. Sweet, who has 5 children of his own, decided to put his application out to other premises. He was hired, so he's working 2 jobs presently, so he's shifted from nights to day at Rebel. A long-term employee is there now, kind of taking over temporarily. Mr. Matthew, however, has no ability to make that change, so I think the intention is as soon as, meaning change of manager, so the intention is as soon as he has the ability to hire, we'll probably be in here very soon on a change of manager.
You're saying that he's not a principal now, so he can't make that decision until he owns it?
That is correct. Yeah. But Mr. Sweet is involved, and like I said, if need be, he could be here 5 minutes out. So
What involvement have you had, sir, in the business, running of that business as of late?
I've done this pretty much for years as a marketing
No,
consultant.
no, I mean that business, Rebel. Were
Rebel.
you involved in Rebel prior to today? What's
Now
your role
I'm in
today?
there now, just pretty much overseeing support in any way I can to sort of protect my investment and try to make a smooth transition. Other than that, I don't have a role, I don't have a position there, but I'd like to be on premises as much as possible. I do have a full-time job, and so I'm there when I can. I like to oversee some of the nighttime operation, but I don't have any office hours or anything like that. I just want to see how the business is being run and support it in any marketing role that I can to help business have some business left, such that there's something that can be purchased.
So you had no active role in running of the business prior to this, or no financial interest in it?
No, not at all.
So you're coming in cold and buying the whole thing from him?
Yes. The idea initially was to come in as a small percentage partner, but the other owners seemed as if they were interested in selling it.
After the incident, they want to sell now?
Well, actually before, I mean,
Before.
this agreement was actually signed back in January. I think all parties thought it was probably going to close March, April, following the hearing.
Right.
And now it's really just been, I think everyone's eager to move ahead, but it's kind of been drawn out, absolutely.
So, with that being said, all the licenses are going to be transferred over.
Right.
Because he's going to be the new stockholder. We don't need to have a new hearing or anything.
Right, so the corporate documents remain the same, and for now, Mr. Sweet is still listed as the manager of record, and is the manager of record. I think, to be forward with the board, it's likely that there will be a change of manager, because, again, he's not able to put as much time in as he wanted to, right, at night time. That just happened a couple weeks ago during that violation hearing, and Mr. Matthew wants to make that change, so he'd be committed to do that, and, get that application in as well.
So, that's fine, I have no issues, I have no problem at all supporting it. I will say that, they did find, 15 or 20 kids in there that were underage, so that just doesn't happen on a fluke. They've probably been doing it for a while, that's probably why they got 20 days from the ABCC. So, just be aware of your responsibilities down there, be aware of the type of entertainment that you bring in down there, If we find that the entertainment you bring in down there is creating a real havoc after hours when people are leaving or anything else like that, this board has the authority to pull back that entertainment license for any reason at all. And there's not much you can do about it. So I just want to make sure that we run the best possible place that we can down there. We don't have any incidences late at night down there. It's a great location. There's plenty of parking. We hope that you're very, very successful down there.
I appreciate that. To that end, you know, they did put in brand new advanced ID scanners. I know that's not 100% foolproof, but that was a large part, I guess, of the problems in terms of that. They eliminated college themed nights, which was the event that night, and they've had staff meetings, and Mr. Matthew was able to work with Brandon, and Brandon again wants to work with him to help hire that new manager as well, to kind of keep those policies in place. Again, nothing's foolproof, but education and continue to talk to the staff, I think is going to go a long way.
And just to add to that, I'm looking more towards maturing the demographic. I've become a lot older since I've been promoting and doing events. People were working with me years ago that were 20, 21, 22, are now 30, 35, 40. And I think that's the direction that I'd like to take this business. So it's a more mature adult following, especially in the evening events. I'd also like to try to mature the restaurant more, because there's an opportunity for that that's totally being underutilized. So that we can build a new level of cuisine and try to get a lunch menu, get a dinner menu, and not be so reliant on the entertainment. That's sort of my mission. And of course, I'm open. Lieutenant Jarowski and I are talking, and the chief knows me. I'm definitely an open book. So if there's any questions or anything, any guidelines or anything, I'm learning a lot as I'm listening. And I'm wide open for listening. So if there's any concerns whatsoever, I'm here present and always will be.
With that, again, anybody in the audience have any comments, questions, concerns? Seeing none, board members, any other comments, questions?
Mr. Chairman, just mentioned that this is the season when we go back and renew liquor license. So the fire department will be by inspecting, inspection service will be by, and so expect to see us, and we'll be looking at it.
You're welcome. I'm looking forward to it.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to grant the request of Night Entertainment, Inc.
Three separate votes.
Three separate votes. DBA Rebel, 79 Parking Way for a transfer of stock and new officers and directors.
Second?
Motion made and seconded to grant the request of Night Entertainment, DBA Revel, 79 Parking Way, for the transfer of stock and new officers and directors. And they will be going over to everything will be in Mr. Edward Matthews' name, and the manager of record will remain Brandon Sweet. Hours of operation will remain unchanged, 11 a.m. to 1 a.m. All in favor?
Aye.
You're all set, okay?
Thank you very much.
Good luck.
Do we need a second vote?
No, they did it all in one. They did it all in one.
I'll bring that check by tomorrow.
Thank you. Oh, because they don't put all of him.
Before we get on to the final 5 items, I do want to do one more call. Is Town River Yacht Club here? No, and we still have not heard anything at all from Mr. Harris, so if you guys don't mind hanging around still, we'll see if we can hear you. You guys are good? Okay. With that, we will go to agenda item number 9, hearing regarding the violations of Mass General Laws, Chapter 138, Section 34, on September 9th, 2017, at Presidential Pub, 29 Temple Street. Mr. James O'Malley. Mr. O'Malley, why don't you come up, and I'm going to ask Lieutenant Tarowski to come up, and he can present the case to the board, okay?
Yes, sir.
Pete, why don't you come on up and...
Good afternoon, Chairman and members of the board. On Saturday, September 9th, 2017, I, along with officers John Elected and Tara Waters, conducted an alcohol compliance check at package stores and polling establishments. This compliance check was properly advertised in the Patriot Ledger. The person in which who was attempting to purchase alcohol was a 20-year-old male with a date of birth of January 24th, 1997. We adhere to the minimum age purchase law compliance check guidelines set forth by the Commonwealth of Massachusetts Alcoholic Beverage Control Commission dated of August of 2004. This person was attempting to purchase alcohol from package stores as well as attempting to being served at pouring establishments. Due to the pouring establishment aspect of the compliance check, the 20-year-old male was required to take a breath test prior to and after completion of the compliance check. The breath test both prior to and after completion of the compliance check reflected a blood alcohol content of 0.000%. The money used in attempting to purchase the alcohol was a marked $10 bill. If our underage person was sold alcohol at a package store, it was to bring it to me. If it was served alcohol at a pouring establishment, it was to call off selected cell phone. When we heard it ring, we would enter the establishment. Okay, now, presidential. One second. Okay, the last one. At 23:08 hours, we sent our underage persons to the Presidential Pub located at number 29 Temple Street. A few minutes later, Officer Lecter's phone rang and we entered the establishment. As we entered the bar, I observed our underage person sitting at the bar about halfway down. In front of our underage person was an open and cold 12-ounce bottle of Bud Light beer. I saw the bartender, who I know, Lawrence Westcott. I advised him that he had served our underage person alcohol, and I asked him why he did not ask for an ID. He replied because he looked old enough. There were only 3 other patrons in the establishment at this time. I gave him back the change from the sale and asked him to retrieve a marked $10 bill from the register, which he did. I asked Mr. Westcott how long he had worked there, and he replied 20 years. I advised him that I would be requesting that the owner be brought before the licensing board to answer for this violation.
So you've heard Mr. Torowski's report. Any, you want to dispute it? It is what it is. Okay. I can't say enough, you know, check IDs, check IDs, check IDs.
I think we've learned our lesson from Raymond, so.
I'm going to turn over to the police chief.
Sure, you're usually an older crowd in there anyway. I was kind of surprised, quite frankly, when I was notified of this. How long have you had the place?
3 years.
And you've had no complaints in the 3 years, I know
No
that.
complaints.
Okay. I don't have any further questions. You accepted
I was there
responsibility
25 years before that.
as a bartender?
Yeah.
Board members, anything else?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion, as a result of the violations of Mass General Laws, Chapter 138, Section 34, that occurred on September 9th, 2017 at the Presidential Pub, 29 Temple Street, I'm recommending a written warning be placed in their file.
Any length of time?
No.
No?
Unlimited.
Unlimited.
Written warning.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to place a written warning into the file of Presidential Pub, 29 Temple Street, for violations of Mass General Laws, Chapter 138, Section 34, which occurred on September 9th, 2017 at the Presidential Pub. James O'Malley, the manager. All in favor?
Aye.
You're all set, okay? Just make sure your ID.
Trust me, we will make it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Agenda item number 10, hearing regarding violations of Mass General Laws, Chapter 138, Section 34, on September 9th, 2017, at Wollaston Wine and Liquors, 5460 Beale Street. Mr. George Havanus. Mr. Havanus, how are you?
Very well.
I'm going to let Mr. Torowski read his report, and then we'll go from there, okay?
Okay, on the same evening at 22:55 hours, we sent our underage person into Wollaston Wine and Liquors, located at 54-60 Beale Street. A few minutes later, our underage person exited the store and returned to my unmarked cruiser with with a six-pack of cold Budweiser Light Platinum bottles of beer. He also handed me the change from the sale. I then re-entered the store with the beer and the change. I walked up to the register and identified myself to the clerk. I then informed him that he had just sold his beer to an underage person. I asked him why he didn't ask for an ID, and he replied he looked old enough. I asked the clerk for an ID, for which he produced a mass driver's license, and he was identified as Oreste Tremonte. I asked him how long he has worked there, and he replied 3 years. I asked him if he was ever tips trained, and he replied he took the class 5 years ago. I returned the beer and the change from the sale and asked him to retrieve our marked $10 bill from the register, which he did. I explained to him that I was somewhat dismayed that he didn't ask for an ID. Walston Wine has one of the most advanced ID detection systems on the market, and I've sent many other establishments who are looking to purchase an ID scanner to go to Walston Wine to check out their system. I advised the clerk that you can have the best scanner, but it's no good unless you ask for an ID. I advised him that I would request that the owner be brought before the licensing board to answer to this, for this violation.
Good afternoon, sir. You've heard the charges that were read against you. Do you have any comment?
I want to apologize to the board for the incident that took place on September 9. The employee was obviously daydreaming and he wasn't following the instructions.
Are you the owner, sir?
I am, yes.
And how long have you owned it?
I think 16 years. Our policy is anybody who looks 40 years of age is to be asked for an ID. It is just as important, if not more important, to ask for an ID than it is to let somebody walk out without paying for the purchase. This is how serious we take it. So, and he says he thought that he looked old enough. I says, I don't ask you to think, because each time you think, you're causing you problems. Not just you, but anybody else. You need to follow the instructions. So, and we had to let the gentleman go the next day. It was impulsive, and I want to apologize to the board for the incident, and I would like to ask you for your witness.
I know you've had a good track record. There's been nothing down there.
No, he's an excellent operator, actually.
I've been ID'd, so I feel better knowing that the ID, if they look under 40.
Really? He was trying to flatter you.
Yeah.
Are you ready for a motion?
I'm ready, yeah.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion as a result of the violations that occurred of Mass General Laws 138, Section 34 on September 9, 2017 at Wally Wine and Liquor, or Walston Wine and Liquor, 54 to 60 Beale Street, that a written warning be placed in their file.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to place a written warning in the file of Wollaston Wine and Liquors, 5460 Beale Street, for violations of Mass General Laws, Chapter 138, Section 34, on September 9th, 2017, represented by Mr. George Havanas, the owner. All in favor?
Aye.
You're all set.
Thank you very much again. And I apologize.
Agenda item number 11, hearing regarding violations of Mass General Laws, Chapter 138, Section 34, on September 9th, 2017, at Hancock Liquors, 229 Quincy Ave. Mr. Pi Pham. Mr. Pham, how are you today?
Not too good.
If you're before us today, you are not too good. You're not lying. I'm going to let Mr. Trowski read the report, and then we'll hear from you, okay?
Okay, on the same evening at 1845 hours, we sent our underage person to Hancock Liquors, located at 229 Quincy Ave. A few minutes later, our underage person exited the store and handed me a six-pack of cold Budweiser 16-ounce bottles of beer. He also handed me the change from the purchase. I then entered the store and identified myself to the clerk who had sold the alcohol. I advised the clerk that she had sold alcohol to our underage person, and I asked why she didn't ask him for an ID. She stated she did ask him for an ID, which she stated he did produce. I advised her that that was not possible because he has no ID on him. I then asked for her ID, and she stated that she did not have any on her. I asked her for her information, name, etc., which she refused to give me. I asked her how long she had worked there, and she replied 3 months, but only 2 days a week. She asked if she could call the owner, and I told her yes. I then spoke to the owner on the phone, Roy Pham, which I believe is your wife.
No, that's me.
Oh, you? Oh.
That's good. That's
I explained that what had just happened and told him to advise the clerk that she needs to provide me with her information. I told the owner there was a second clerk present who was identified as Ajar try to drink the last name.
Yeah, I can't do that.
She said he is training the female who had sold the alcohol to an underage person. I advised the owner that I was requesting that he have to appear before the licensing board to answer for this violation. After ending my phone call with the owner, the clerk who sold the alcohol provided me with her name of Poonam Yadav. I asked her if she had a mass driver's license. She responded no. I also asked if she has been tip trained, and again she responded no. I then asked the other clerk present why he did not make sure an ID was asked for, and he replied his back was turned at the time of the sale. He did not see it take place. I gave them back the change from the transaction and requested our marked $10 bill from the register, which they produced. We then cleared the location.
Okay, Mr. Pham, do you dispute anything or have any comments or anything to say on your behalf?
Yes, I don't dispute that it happened. I apologize to the board, City of Quincy. The fact that when I asked her later on that night, I came in after you left, like, why did she not ask for ID? Because our policy is clear. She said that she thought she had asked ID a few weeks earlier. She remembered the guy, so I'm not sure what she told you. So that's what she told me, so I didn't know that that's what she told you. So so I told her, you know, we ask for ID all the time. So on that subject, now I post up a sign, then premise that even if you just came 5 minutes ago, we still require an ID. And that is geared toward the customer, because some customers that I know you. So that is so that they will just produce an ID, and then that to make our employee remind them, I don't care, ID all the time. And regarding the tips, that was the management mistake. She was training, and so we usually at the end of the training, before we official hire, that's what she has to pass, and that's the tips. And that, reviewing our policy, that was a big mistake. So now she's tip trained now. So now everybody, before they even step onto the register, they have to do that first. And we should have done that. I'm not sure why we wait until we officially hire them. So after this incident, we had meetings with everybody. So they were afraid, she was afraid that she would get fired, or I'm like, well, I haven't really hired you, but it's her first mistake, and it's essentially it's a big learning process for us, and I can't say that I'm glad that happened, because it finally happened, and everybody is serious now. I'm always serious, but as you can see, like, sometimes employees get lax. Me myself, I go into my real job sometimes, that days I'm lax. So maybe that will, wake up everybody. Also, I'm sorry, it's a little bit more, because we actually went back to our management training and our management protocol and see if there's anything we could have done to prevent this, because yes, it was the clerk somewhat, but maybe we didn't provide enough things for her to not have to think that okay, I checked ID before, I don't have to do it now. So we do have an ID scanner that we bought for more than $1,000. So I was like, okay, you have to check, because that's why that ID scanner is for. We spend money on it. It's not like we'll just blow it off. That's what it's for. And so everybody is going to do that on top of checking physically what the ID is. And on top of that, they're going to have to ask certain questions if it's suspicious, like zip code or spell your middle name, something that caught people off guard, because sometimes those are not foolproof. I mean, we get fooled, a machine get fooled. It's so sophisticated now. But that's kind of out of my hand, but they have to do extra thing to make sure. Another thing is our POS system didn't have the capability of stopping a transaction if there was no birthday enter, like 7-Eleven. I didn't think that was a big deal before, because I thought we had the ID and everybody checked, that would be fine. But now, I thought now if we put that into effect, that would stop them, give them another barrier before they sell. And so we just contacted our salesperson for POS, and he can buy updated, cost some money as well to update that, and now it's fully alcohol, cigarettes, and lottery. If you don't enter a birthday, cannot go through. So that, I think that would help a lot. They can't press cancel because you have to enter a birthday. So if somebody who's my father's age come in office, you won't ask for an ID, but you would ask, sir, you have, can I have your birthday? So that also is in there as well. So we also have from that now on, monthly or bi-monthly meeting with employees, because I figured they might be lax after a while. So okay, no one come by, we'll be okay. But I want to have that meeting to remind everybody what we have to do. And one thing that I learned from officer here, that we actually will be doing our own compliance check periodically, anonymously, to see if, because when I'm there, everything's perfect. Actually, 4 hours before the compliance check I came in, they were refusing somebody without an ID, but because I was there. So now this is what we're going to do. We're going to have anonymous and compliance check. We have plenty of friends who are really young looking. So they will be helping us out on that. Going forward, that was the first one for everybody, and that's the only one for everybody. Next will be consequences as well. But I didn't want to fire somebody for their first mistake, and that provides a learning opportunity as well, because if you fire somebody from the first mistake, it's kind of shut them down a lot. So.
Well, I'm glad you took the opportunity and you made it a learning experience for all of your employees, so that's great.
How long have you owned the place?
Going 3 years now, sir.
Lieutenant, has there been any issues in the last 3 years now?
No.
No violations?
No.
Mr. Chairman, you
Yep.
make a motion? Mr. Chairman, as a result of the violations of Mass General Law 138, Section 34 on September 9th that occurred at Hancock Liquors, 229 Quincy Ave, I'd like to place a written warning in his file.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to place a written warning on file of Hancock Liquors, 229 Quincy Ave, for violations of Mass General Laws, Chapter 138, Section 34, which occurred on September 9th, 2017 at Hancock Liquors. Mr. Hoy Pham, the manager. All in favor?
Aye.
You're all set, okay?
Thank you.
Okay. Agenda item number 12, hearing regarding the violations of Mass General Laws, Chapter 138, Section 34, on September 9, 2017, at Presidential Liquors, 25 Scammell Street. This is Mr. Michael Shane. Right, Mike?
That's right.
There you go. We'll have Mr. Torowski read the report, and then we'll go from there.
Okay, on the same evening at 19:19 hours, we sent our underage person to Presidential Liquors located at 25 Scammell Street. Several minutes later, our underage person exited the store and returned to my unmarked cruiser with a six-pack of cold Budweiser, 16-ounce bottles of beer. I then took the beer along with the change given from the sale and re-entered the store. I advised the clerk, who was later identified as Evan Green, that he just sold this beer to our underage person. I asked him why he did not ask for an ID. He replied that he didn't ask for an ID because the underage person looked old enough. I informed him that he should be asking for an ID on anyone who does not have wrinkles. I returned the beer and the change. I asked him to retrieve our marked $10 bill from the register, which he did. I asked him how long he had worked there, and he replied 7 years. I asked him if he was ever tips trained. He replied no. I advised him that I would request the owner be on call before the licensing board to answer for this violation.
Any dispute, comments, questions? Or?
No, Evan called me as soon as it happened, and he's,
Yeah?
said it happened.
Yeah. How long have you been there for?
I've been there for 7 years.
Yeah.
So since we opened, he's been there. And 5 nights a week, but, only a few hours each night, he works a great job. And we silent shop it periodically. And when I know different people are there. No, never been a problem. So we got again, you can have the best machine in the world, but unless you put the ID through it, you can't do it. I just learned something here.
Yes, that was very good, wasn't it?
Yes.
Put the birthday in?
With the birthday, that call is being made tomorrow morning.
Yeah.
Because then you can't miss it. The difficulty comes, we have an awful lot of senior citizens around the corner, and they don't have IDs, or if they do, they don't even carry it. They're either infirmed or they're just, difficult. As a matter of fact, I drew up this, and we're trying to decide if this is the right wording for it. If you're under 40 and not asked from us, you notify the manager and receive a $5 coupon, with the exception of one bottle of tobacco, a gallon of milk or Friendly's ice cream. But we're not sure whether or not they carry their IDs, so we don't know whether or not that would be, we're trying to figure out the wording on this. I don't know if you have any suggestions. We do our best. He's not tipped trained, but that, he's worked with me off and on in different places. I've been in the business for 30 years, since he was 25 years old, and now he's like 41 now. So he's familiar with the routine, knows about the wrinkle lines up by the eyes, the whole thing. I don't even like to say under 40, because you know what 40 looks like anymore? I don't know what 40 looks like. I'm just,
I'm gonna stay out of it.
but it's something to indicate that, if there's any doubt at all, ask the ID. We got the machine here for it. It scans the world. It's the one they use supposedly. They use at the Pentagon.
Only good if you use it.
Only good if you use it. I said, the best machine in the world, only good if you use it. And he apologized, and I've cut his hours on a few of the nights, so he's only working a couple of nights now, for a few weeks, give him a little penalty on it. And then after that, he'll go back, but he said, we have a one and out policy, generally.
Yeah.
But he's been there for so long, he's not a kid.
You have to have a gray area for everybody.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, well,
Yeah.
Other than that,
Okay. Is there any other issues down there?
No.
Okay. Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion. As a result of violation that occurred of Mass General Law 138, Section 34 on September 9, 2017, of Presidential Liquor, 25 Scammell Street, that a written warning be placed in the file.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to place a written warning on file of Presidential Liquors, 25 Scammell Street, for violations of Mass General Laws, Chapter 138, Section 34, which occurred on September 9, 2017, at Presidential Liquors. Manager, Mr. Michael Shane. All in favor?
Aye.
Good luck. Hope we don't see you ever again, okay?
maybe for a sandwich. But
Yeah. Agenda item number 13, hearing regarding violations of Mass General Laws, Chapter 138, Section 34, on September 9, 2017, at Lucky Wine and Liquors, 66 Newberry Ave. Daya Patel, the manager. This is not Daya Patel, this is
This is Dia Patel
Dia
here,
Patel.
and my name is Kim Kara.
So I'm going to let Mr. Trowski read his report, and then we'll go from there, okay?
Okay, on the same evening at 21:40 hours, we sent our underage person into Lucky Wine and Liquors located at 66 Newberry Ave. Several minutes later, our underage person exited the store and handed me a six-pack of cold 12-ounce bottles of Budweiser beer and the change from the sale. Then ran to the store and advised the clerk, who was later identified as Mr. Patel, that he had just sold alcohol to our underage person. I asked him why he didn't ask for an ID. He just replied he didn't ask. I asked him how long he had worked there, and he stated 1 year. I asked him if he was ever tips trained, and he stated he was not. I then returned the beer and the change and asked him to retrieve our marked $10 bill from the register, which he did. I informed him that he needs to ask for IDs. I also informed him that I would request that the owner be brought to the licensing board to answer for this violation.
And you are again?
My name is Kim Croa, last name is Kroha. I'm an attorney with Baker Braverman and Barbadoro. And Dia Patel and the owners have had this liquor store for about 2 years now. This is their first violation. It was a learning experience for them. They have 3 employees, one who primarily is the clerk there, that was a gentleman who did the sale that evening. Since the time of the violation, they got all their employees tips trained. I have those certificates if anybody on the board wants a copy of them. So that happened recently. They reinforced the policy to be sure to ID anyone under 40, and they're taking this very seriously, and they, you know, they want to make sure that it never happens again, and they've taken a lot of steps to make sure that that's the case. So we would just say that they've really learned their lesson, and if there's, you know, if they receive a warning, if there's some sort of reasonable expiration period on it that's possible, we'd appreciate that, but whatever the board decides, they've certainly learned their lesson from it.
Do you own any other places?
Sorry.
Do you personally own any other liquor stores? Or bars or liquor
Not in
establishments?
Quincy, not in Quincy, last year.
And you've had that 2 years, you said?
Yes, we have 2 years.
They also own Lucky Shamrock on Beale.
And Lieutenant, have there been any issues?
Nothing prior, no.
Ready for motion?
Yep.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion as a result of the violations of Mass General Law 138, Section 34 on September 9, 2017 at Lucky Wine and Liquor, 66 Newbury Ave, that a warning be placed in their file.
Second?
Motion made and seconded to place a written warning on file of Lucky Wine and Liquor, 66 Newbury Ave, for violations of Mass General Law, Chapter 138, Section 34, on September 9th, 2019, that occurred at Lucky Wine and Liquor, 66 Newbury Ave. Leah Patelli, owner, represented by Kim Groha. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. You're all set. On the written violations that we placed on file, they've been placed on file. That's so that if something happens a year down the road, we can still use that. If something happens 8 years down the road and you had a written file, we would certainly take that 8-year period of compliance into consideration. So that's just so we have a general explanation of what it means when we place something on file.
Okay, excellent. Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Agenda item number 14, hearing regarding the violations of Mass General Law, Chapter 138, Section 34, on September 9, 2017, at Callahan's Tap, 296 Copeland Street. Mr. Anthony Donnelly, the manager. So we actually have 2 agenda items here for Callahan's Tap. We have violations that occurred on September 9th, Mass General Law, Chapter 138, Section 34, the serving of a minor. And then we also have a hearing regarding violations of Mass General Law, Chapter 138, and the rules and regulations of the Quincy Licensing Board on August 27th, 2017 at Callahan's Tap, 296 Copeland Street. I'm going to ask that we combine the 2 of them. No? You want to do separate? Okay.
Please, yeah.
We'll do the...
We'll do the violation that the lieutenant found on September 9th.
Okay. Yep. So we're going to hearing regarding violations of Mass General Law, Chapter 138, Section 34, on September 9th, 2017, at Callahan's Tap.
Okay, on the same evening at 22:19 hours, we sent our underage person to Callahan's Tap, located at 296 Copeland Street. A few minutes after entering the establishment, Officer Lecter's cell phone had rang. We then entered the establishment, in which I observed our underage person sitting at a small high-top table just as you enter the establishment. On the table in front of our underage person was an open 12-ounce bottle of cold Budweiser beer. Our underage person was the only one sitting at this table, though there were 6 other patrons sitting at the main bar. I observed a female who I did not know, who appeared to be the bartender, walking towards me. I identified myself to her and asked if she was the bartender, and she stated she was. I advised her that she had served alcohol to our underage person, and I asked her why she didn't ask for an ID. She replied he looked old enough. I asked her for an ID, which she produced a Mass driver's license. She was identified as Maria Gillespie. I asked her how long she worked there, and she replied 2 weeks. I asked her if she was tips trained, and she said she was not. I asked her if she was the same bartender who still had patrons drinking in the establishment after hours recently, and she stated she was. I gave her back the change from the sale, and I asked her to retrieve our marked $10 bill from the register, which she did. I asked her if the owner, Anthony Donnelly, was present, though I did not see him, and she replied, I don't know. I asked this because I had observed a television flickering in the window in the alleged office above the bar. I've had numerous complaints that Mr. Donnelly sleeps there, that it's an apartment and not an office. I advised the bartender that I would be requesting that the owner be brought before the licensing board to answer to the above violation. This establishment has a history of violations as follows. On May 12th, 2012, it failed a compliance check. On September 14th of 2013, it failed a compliance check. And on March 18th of 2015, the bartender was involved in a fight in which the bar served a 5-day suspension. On 1/30/17, January 30th of this year, they were charged with serving after hours and given a 1-day suspension. On 3/18/17, they were serving after hours and were given a 5-day suspension. And on 8/27, which I'm going to get to after this report, there's also an allegation of serving after hours, and that hearing is pending. And then on 9/19/99, they failed a compliance check.
Could you, Lieutenant, could you just outline the previous discipline that we've had? I think I have that, but
The dates?
the dates in this.
Yeah, it was on May 12th, 2012, failed a compliance check.
And he was given a warning for that.
Written reprimand back then.
Yeah.
And then on 9/14/13, they failed a compliance check, but they never came before the board for that one.
Okay.
On 3/18/2015, there was a bartender who was involved in a fight,
Okay.
and they were given a 5-day suspension when they served.
Okay.
On 1/30/17, Sergeant Bill Wood had them serving after hours, they were given a 1-day suspension.
Okay.
And then on 3/18/17, they were serving after hours and given a 5-day suspension.
Okay. And that brings us to this violation.
This violation.
We'll talk about shortly. Okay. Thank you, Lieutenant.
Mr. Donnelly,
Long time no see.
any, what would you like to say in your defense?
Well, there was a fight on TV down the street at Furnace Ave, and they left when the officer tried to get in, I had the door locked. I didn't know it was a police officer. So the door was locked, so he knocked on the door and he identifies himself.
Is this on?
This is,
no,
we're talking about the serving of alcohol.
Serving of alcohol to a minor.
The girl only started, she was supposed to get tip certified and she didn't. She was supposed to, but I've since let her go. And everyone else in there are tip certified. She was the only one that wasn't. It was one of the girls got pregnant and she couldn't work anymore. One of the girls that were tip certified. And they just hired this new girl. And she was in the works of getting tip certified. But obviously she didn't done.
Anything else? Do you disagree that, or what's the word I'm looking for?
Dispute any of
Do you
the facts?
dispute any of the facts that, as far as being served and everything else?
Oh, no, not at all.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion as a result of the continued violations of Mass General Law, Chapter 138, Section 34, the violation that occurred on September 9th, I would like to suspend the license of Callahan's Tap located at 296 Copeland Street for a term of 5 days, a 5-day consecutive suspension. Those days to be served November 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to suspend the license of Callahan's Tap, 296 Copeland Street, for violations of Mass General Law, Chapter 138, Section 34, on September 9, 2017, for 5 days, November 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th. All in favor of suspending the license, I'll do a roll call vote. Chief Barron.
Yes.
Director Duca.
Yes.
Clerk Crispo.
Yes.
Chief Keenan.
Yes.
And I will also vote yes. That is a 5-0 vote to suspend the license for 5 days. You do have the right to appeal the suspension to the ABCC. You'll get written notice of it either tomorrow or the next day. And then it's 10 days after you receive notice, you have 10 days to appeal to the ABCC. Okay? That closes agenda item number 14. Agenda item number 15. Hearing regarding violations of Mass General Law, Chapter 138, and the rules and regulations of the Quincy Licensing Board on August 27, 2017 at Callahan's Tap, 296 Copeland Street. Mr. Anthony Donnelly. Mr. Detective Terrell, why don't you read the report?
All right, I'm going to read Officer Brockmeyer's report, the
Okay.
officer that responded that night. And that was August 27, 2017, at 01:47 hours. Officer Brockmeyer was dispatched to the area of Cross and Crescent Street in the city of Quincy for a reported group of males being loud. He was in a Mark Cruiser 775 dressed in full police uniform. On arrival in the area, he could see a group on Copeland Street of males. He pulled down Copeland Street and located 5 males standing in front of Callahan's Tap, all being loud and drinking full bottles of beer on the sidewalk in the steps of the establishment. He exited his patrol car and spoke to the men to dump the beers. Several of the men then began to chug the beers. He again told them to dump the beers and move on. They all stated they were waiting on cabs after leaving the bar. He could see the lights still on the side of Callahan's Tap and walked up to the door. The door was locked, but he could see into the bar through the front door windows and watched as several men were still seated at the bar drinking from bottled beer. He banged on the door and got a response of, "Shut the F up," being yelled from inside the bar. He then banged again and announced Quincy police. At this point, he could still see inside the bar and watch as the blonde bartender gathered all the beers from the men still seated at the bar and put them behind the bar top and then came and opened the door. He entered the bar and was met by a man who stated he was the owner, Tony. I asked about what was going on, or he asked about what was going on inside, and he stated nothing. They were just cleaning up. He asked about the men drinking still at the bar, and he stated they were not. I told him he was lying to me. I could see them from outside and watch as the bartender cleared their beers away when I identified myself. At this point, he told them he had to clear the bar of whoever was not working. He said he was trying to do that, meaning Tony. He offered his assistance, the officer did, which Tony declined. It should be noted that all the men inside the bar appeared to be intoxicated, as did the men that were outside when he had arrived. A short time after clearing from the area, we got another call for people being disruptive out in front of the bar area. On arrival, he had seen that the men had been waiting for their taxis leaving and there was no one left in the area. He requested that I follow up. So, on August 30th, I received a copy of a report filed by Officer Brockmeyer regarding an incident at Callahan's Tap, located at 296 Copeland Street. This incident occurred on August 27th, which was a Sunday at 01:55 hours. This is a summary of Officer Brockmeyer's report. Officer Brockmeyer was dispatched to the area of Copeland and Cross Street for a group of loud males. What he found was a group of 5 males standing on the sidewalk in steps by the front door of Callahan's Tap, drinking full bottles of beer. He then observed that lights were still on inside the establishment. He walked up to the front door and found it to be locked. He looked through the window in the front door and observed several men still seated at the bar drinking from bottled beer. The above described actions are violations of the rules and regulations of this licensing board, as well as violations of Mass General Law, Chapter 138. I am requesting the owner, who was present at the time of the incident, Anthony Donnelly, be brought before the licensing board to answer to the following violations. Alcohol still in the bar after 01:15 hours. Patrons still in the premises after 01:30 hours. Patrons consuming alcohol on premise after hours. Interfering with a police officer during an investigation, lying to Officer Brockmeyer, who plainly observed patrons consuming alcohol and the owner stating they were not, and allowing alcohol to be taken off the premises, and locking patrons inside the establishment, which is a public safety violation. And I have listed all the violations that he had so far. And during the incident on 1/30/17, which there were patrons in the after hours, Sergeant William Wood was told by the bartender that patrons would not leave. During the incident on 3/18/2017, I personally was told by the same thing by the bartender that the patrons would not leave. During the incident before you dated 8/27/17, Officer Brockmeyer was told by the owner of the establishment, Anthony Donnelly, that he was trying to clear the bar. In none of the above incidents was a call placed to the Quincy Police Department requesting assistance due to the fact that patrons would not leave the establishment at closing time. In fact, the patrons had been locked inside.
Okay, Mr. Donnelly. Do you dispute anything in the report or anything you want to
The
say?
reason why the door was locked, those guys had a fight, Mayweather and someone, there was a fight down the street. It was on TV, which I didn't have. They were watching that. They were drinking down in Furnace Ave, at the very bottom of Furnace Ave. They come up waiting on cabs. They tried to knock on the door, wouldn't let them in. The police officer comes, knocks on the door, tries to get in, door's locked. I didn't realize it was a police officer. He identifies himself as a Quincy police officer. I open the door and let him in. We're cleaning up. These guys in here waiting on cabs. The reason why the door was locked was because I didn't want these guys trying to come in. And that was pretty much it.
Why were those other patrons in there?
They were waiting on cabs, but I locked the doors.
But they're supposed to be out by 1:30.
I understand.
Why are they in there 10 to 2?
Still consuming alcohol.
It's 1:15.
1:50, no. What time was it, Lieutenant?
Everybody's going to be off the premises by 1:30.
I understand that. What time did Brockmeyer go there? Officer Brockmeyer?
He was dispatched at 1:47 and he arrived at 1:55.
So that's 5 into 2. That's a long time after 1:15 and a long time after 1:30. They were still in there consuming alcohol. Even if they're waiting for a cab, there's no reason for them to have the alcohol in front of them. And I don't dispute Officer Brockmeyer is a good officer.
But the reason why I didn't want to open the door was other guys outside coming from a pod down the street. And I wanted to keep the place locked up once their cabs came. And
That's about the only part of the explanation I do understand. The rest of it, there were people in your establishment at 5 into 2, still being served and consuming alcohol.
And if I have to do it again, I'll just get a detailed police officer for 4 hours on Friday, Saturday, Sunday night.
What night of the week was this? Sunday?
What's that?
Sunday night?
Yeah.
I mean, we've been through this dance a number of times. This is the third time after hours and third time serving a minor. Is that correct, Lieutenant? Third time serving a minor, third
Yes.
time after hours?
Yeah.
I think I admonished you sternly the last time.
Yes, you did.
So I'm going to make a motion here, and then I'll make a statement. Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion that as a result of the violation of Mass General Law 138, the rules and regulations of the Quincy Licensing Board, that occurred on August 27, 2017 at Callahan's Tap, located at 296 Copeland Street, that the hours of operation be rolled back and the closing hours be rolled back to 11 p.m.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to roll back the hours permanently to 11 p.m. for violations of Mass General Law, Chapter 138, and the rules and regulations of the Quincy Licensing Board, for violations that occurred on August 27, 2017 at Callahan's Tap, 296 Copeland Street. This is the third violation for serving a minor, the third violation for having patrons consuming alcohol on premise after hours. So I'm going to take a roll call vote on this, and this is a roll call vote to roll back the hours at Callahan's Tap to 11 p.m. for violations of Mass General Law, Chapter 138, Rules and Regulations of the Quincy Licensing Board, which occurred on August 27th, and are continuance of violations that have occurred there over the last several months for after-hours drinking. Chief Barron.
Yes.
Director Duca.
Yes.
Clerk Crispo.
Yes.
Chief Keenan.
Yes.
And I'm going to vote yes. So this is a rollback of hours to 11 o'clock, effective immediately starting tonight. And you'll also, this is you cannot appeal this to the ABCC, the rollback. This is under jurisdiction of the local licensing authority. You can appeal this decision, but you have to appeal this decision in Superior Court.
You understand that?
Yes.
11 o'clock is 11 o'clock.
Yeah.
Okay, if there's any further violations, I strongly urge you to bring an attorney with you the next time, because we will be going for revocation.
Okay.
So when you have an 11 o'clock closing, that means last call is 10:30. No one served. Yeah, no one served after 11 o'clock.
What's everybody off premises?
Everybody off premise by 11.
11, okay.
11:30, right? Because it's everyone's off presence.
Right.
Half hour, yeah.
Right, so 11:15, no one drinks up the bar, everyone up
Yep.
at 11:30.
Yeah. It's the exact same protocol we use at 1 a.m., it's just the hours are pushed back to 11.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yep.
That
Thank you.
concludes agenda item number 15. I'm going to go back to agenda item number 5. Have we heard anything at all from?
I apologize, we have not.
We've not heard any. I'm going to ask the Radar brothers to come back. We've not heard anything at all from Councilor Harris at this point. That's up to Director Duca, how Director Duca would like to.
Well,
We're going to reopen agenda item number 5. Hearing regarding the request of Quincy Gate Auto, 165 Hancock Street for a Motor 2 license and a garage repair license.
so the issuance of the license goes hand in hand with the zoning concerns that we have, and Councilor Harris plays a big role in both of those decisions. Even if we were to grant the license, doesn't mean you have the ability to go back and open that place, which has been abandoned and discontinued for many years. We can probably settle the whole issues all at once, but I do need Councilor Harris to either speak or give us something in writing on his stand on the whole matter. And I appreciate that you spoke with him, but I just don't have anything.
Even we tried to reach to him, but no answer.
What, just now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do too.
So, is it okay if we're going to continue this until October 31st? And then you come back, and as long as Councilor Harris is okay with it, I don't even know if they have to come back if Councilor Harris is okay with it, right?
I would just like to hear from him publicly, some, either in writing, because we may be able to clear up the zoning matter all at the same time. So it's
And you
really
will be
important.
you'll be first on the agenda after the charities on the 31st, okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. Chief?
Mr. Chairman, just so you know, you have some permits that you need from my department,
Yes.
and there are some fire extinguishers that are missing, so.
And he gonna come after, inspect again and see all the other licenses, all different, all good.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
The fire investigator can come after, so we get in the license probably in the next couple of days. He said it's fine to get the license after the hearing, and he will go over and inspect.
Yeah, if you don't get it done by the time we vote, we'll hold the license until you do get these things accomplished. Thank you.
So we're going to look for a motion to continue this until October 31st, and then hopefully we'll hear from Councilor Harris, and we'll be able to move forward, okay? Okay. Can I get a motion, Mr. Duca?
Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to continue the request of Quincy Gate Auto, 165 Hancock Street for a Motor 2 license to October 31st.
Yep.
Second?
Motion made and seconded to continue the hearing regarding the request of Quincy Gate Auto, 165 Hancock Street for a Motor 2 license and garage repair license pending confirmation from Councilor Harris, and this is going to be continued until October 31st, okay? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So we'll see you on the 31st, okay? And you'll be the first one on the agenda after the charities.
Thank you.
With that, I do have agenda item number 7. Is anyone here from Mound Street? No one has shown up from Mound Street, so I'm going to just, Town River, yeah, Mound Street, Town River Yacht Club. You didn't know it was on Mound Street, did you?
I did.
Okay.
I've been to a shower there. I put it on there.
So I'm just gonna
Invitation.
hold that. Does that advertising? Okay, so that's fine there. I do have a communication from Massachusetts State Lottery Commission offering Keno monitors to existing 7-Eleven stores to display Keno at their locations, and one is 230 Washington Street, 85 Quincy Ave, and 751 East Squantum Street. We have no objections, correct?
Correct.
Seeing none, we approve. I believe that
Minutes.
is everything. I haven't got that far yet. Do I have a motion to accept the minutes from the previous meeting, waive the reading? Motion made, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, that concludes the licensing board for October 17th, 2017. Thank you very much for coming.